Hello everyone, I'm coming to you here at the beginning of this video with a special pre-video announcement because Governor DeWine made an announcement today that affects our regathering procedures. So today the governor announced that there's a special health mandate that's coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, that says that any of the counties that are level 3 red alert or higher have to have a public mask mandate. So if you're inside in a building that is not your residence, you are mandated to wear a mask in any of these counties that are level red or higher. And Cuyahoga County, where Valley is, we are in a red county. So what that means for us is, while we had always kind of planned on asking everyone to wear a mask as we came back, it now looks like it's going to be mandated by law. So please just plan on bringing a mask with you, or if you don't have one, we have plenty here that you can have one as well. But we'll keep an eye on this, and when the actual text of the health order comes out tomorrow, we'll read through that. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But we'll stay on top of it, and I just wanted to give you that quick little update that maybe changes a little bit of what you're going to see in the following video. So without further ado, enjoy the rest of the video. Good morning. Thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this video with us and just kind of go over some of the changes that you're going to see as you come back to worship here at Valley. Nothing too huge, but we just want to walk you through everything so that you're familiar with it. As you come in, you know where to go, how to do things, where to get stuff, things like that. So thank you for taking a few minutes, and let's start, with here in the entryway. You're going to notice that all the doors that we can open, we're just going to leave open. That way, you don't have to touch the handles as you come in. Everybody can just kind of walk in. So as you come in, leave the doors open, and let's take a step inside, and I'll show you a little bit more. We're also asking that you don't come into the building more than 15 minutes before your worship service. That way we have enough time to clean and sanitize, disinfect all the surfaces, that sort of thing. So if you're coming to the 9 o'clock service, don't come in before 8:45. And if you're coming to the 10:30, don't come in before 10:15, especially because we're going to need every last minute to sanitize in between those two services. Thank you. As you walk in the front doors, you're going to notice our nice new touchless hand sanitizer station here. All you got to do is stick your hand right in there, and it squirts a little bit of hand sanitizer out for you. So we ask that everybody go ahead and just grab a little bit of that on your way in. Now this area heading up into the fellowship hall and the kitchen, this is going to be blocked off for the most part, unless we need it for overflow seating. See, the sanctuary is going to be set up for social distancing, and that limits the number of people that we can have in there. So if we get enough people that we fill up the sanctuary, then we're going to open this up, and there'll be chairs set up in the fellowship hall and a screen where we're going to project the worship service live as it's happening up there. So you can still kind of take part if you come and the sanctuary is filled. But unless we get to that point where we have to open up the overflow seating, we're just going to kind of block off this up the steps area here and keep people out of there. Now, you might say, well, what about the bathroom? There's a bathroom up there. And yes, there is. So let's talk about bathrooms for a second. In order to make it a little bit easier for us to keep things clean and sanitized on a Sunday morning, we are going to limit it to one bathroom. So we're shutting down this bathroom, and we're going to open up the bathroom that's in the narthex over there, right kind of as you're coming out of the sanctuary. So we apologize, but please understand what we're trying to do is to make it go a little bit faster as we're getting things disinfected and sanitized in between worship services. You'll also find that we've installed touch-free soap dispensers in the bathrooms and installed touch-free lights as well, so automatic kind of motion sensing lights. So you won't even have to flip a switch as you come into the bathroom. Now you're also going to notice there's a sign on the water fountain. We're sorry, we are shutting down the world's coldest water fountain just for the time being. Being the high touch point that it is, we're going to shut that down and ask you not to use that. Okay, let's head on into the narthex. As you come into the narthex, one of the first things you're going to notice we got two tables here set up with face masks. So if you don't have a face mask, we are asking that everybody wear a face mask while they're here at Valley. There are a number of disposable ones here that you can take and keep, and there's even a box of kid-size masks too for the smaller children. And I will say, CDC guidelines say that kids under 2 aren't supposed to wear a mask. So if they're under 2, don't worry about that. We're following CDC guidelines, of course. But older children might find those a little bit more comfortable. So they are there. And they're cloth ones that you can take home and keep. Now, I'll give you a little tip on the masks here. As you take one out, if you're like me and your head's a little bit bigger, you might need to stretch out some of these things. And if you kind of take it, if you do what I did, you grab this and you try to stretch it like this, chances are you're going to end up breaking off one or both of the little stretchy ear loops. So, pro tip, best way to do it, take it and just kind of stretch it like this. So you're just pulling on the string and not pulling away from the mask. Just a tip. But if you break one, no worries. Just take it, throw that one away, and grab another one. And let's see. You can also see here, kind of behind me here, on the floor, we have all these arrows that are leading you directly from the front door into the sanctuary. Now the arrows are 6 feet apart from each other, just to kind of give you a little bit better of an idea, maybe to kind of help judge that 6 feet social distancing rule. But they're also there to really encourage people. We don't want people lounging around in the narthex, congregating, having all that wonderful fellowship time that everybody's going to miss, and Valley's usually so good at. But we want people to kind of come in and go right to your seats. So as you come in, follow the arrows right on in, and you can take your seat in the sanctuary. Now the next group of tables you're going to encounter will be where the bulletins are at. So as you're coming in, after you've got a face mask, if you need to grab that, you can grab your bulletins from these tables, because we're not going to have ushers handing them out to every person, because we're just trying to reduce the number of people who are touching different things. So once you have your bulletin, take that bulletin and either throw it away as soon as you're done with service, or take it home with you if you'd like to do that too. But we're asking, please, at this time, don't leave anything in the pews or lying around. Just get it either to a trash can, which I'll show you where we put the big trash cans, or take it home with you. As you make it into the sanctuary, you'll notice that we have an offering plate sitting right here at the door, because we're not going to be passing around the offering plates. We don't want the ushers to be grabbing the offering plate and then hand that offering plate to every member in the congregation who passes it on. Just another high-touch surface that we're trying to limit. So we're going to put the offering plate right here at the door, and you can set your offering down either as you're coming in or as you're leaving. Now, probably the biggest change is going to be the seating in the sanctuary. In order to follow those sort of 6 feet social distancing rules, we've had to mark off areas of the pews that you can and can't sit in. So that's all the little strings that you see running up and down the pews and on the ends. And I'll take you in a little bit closer. We'll take a look at that and see where it is you can and can't sit. So you'll notice that a lot of pews have little strings here on the end blocking your way. If there's a string there, don't go through that string. Obviously, that part of the pew is blocked off. And we are blocking off every other pew and the middles of the pew as well. And what that does is it gives a nice little space that's about 6 feet here that we can have a family group, a group that doesn't have to socially distance because, they're not socially distancing at home. A family group, a couple, or even a single can sit in one of these areas and know that at all times they are 6 feet apart from anyone else in the congregation. So if you just kind of go up and down the rows and find one of these open areas, you can sit there. We tried to make it really easy for everybody, and the general rule of thumb is if you can get to the seat, you can sit there. Obviously, if somebody else is sitting in that area, don't go sit next to them or something like that. But if it's an open area that you can get to and nobody else is sitting there, that is a perfectly fine place for you to go and sit down. And it can be your whole family, it can be a couple, it can be a single person. That's just fine. If you can find the place to sit, go sit there. So what about the praise band and the pastor? Well, while I'm up here giving the liturgy, the worship service, or preaching my sermon, I'm going to do it from up here rather than down lower where I normally do it kind of right up in front, so that there's a good 15 feet between me and the congregation. And as I do that, I probably will be taking my mask off just so that everybody can understand what I'm saying. It is a little hard to preach and to speak in a mask for that length of time. And same thing for the praise band. They are a good 15 feet away from anybody who's going to be sitting over here on this side of the sanctuary, because the first 2 pews will be blocked off. So they're going to be able to take off their mask while they sing, because it's probably even harder to lead a worship song than it is to even preach a sermon. So while we're up here, more than 6 feet away from everybody, 15 feet plus away from everyone, we might take off our masks, but we're going to be as far away from everybody in the congregation as possible just to keep everybody safe. And how about communion? Well, first thing, for the first couple of weeks, we're not going to celebrate communion. We're just going to have regular worship services without celebrating Holy Communion in order to properly time the services so that we have enough time to sanitize in between each service. And we want to get everybody a chance just to kind of get used to how we're doing things and how everything's kind of changing with this socially distanced worship service. And it gives us a little bit of extra time to get all of our procedures in place to make sure that we're celebrating communion as safely as possible. So once we do start celebrating Holy Communion again in a couple weeks, for now we are going to do just continuous line communion. So you'll come down the front and receive it, communion right at the front, and then go from there. And we will not be offering the common cup. So there'll just be individual cup options. Now, as you leave, you're going to notice a few things here. First off, this one might not really concern you quite as much, but I wanted to show you, all the cleaning and disinfecting equipment that we have here ready, because we are disinfecting all of the pews, the high-touch surfaces, that sort of thing, the bathrooms, in between worship services to keep everybody safe. And for the first few weeks, the governing board has graciously volunteered to take over this responsibility. But we're looking for volunteers to start helping us clean between the 9 and the 10:30 service. So if you'd like to stick around after the 9 o'clock or come a little bit early to the 10:30, we'd love to have your help. Just contact the church office and let us know. Now, as you leave, just as you came in the door with the arrows coming in, we're going to ask that you go out through the door with the arrows going out. And you'll notice that we have one of the trash cans is put right here. So as you leave, if you don't want your bulletin, just drop that right in there. Please do not leave it in the pews. And you can follow the arrows right on out this way. And remember how all those tables were kind of separating out the narthex. We are designating an entryway door and an exit door. So where the handicap ramp goes out, that's going to be the exit door after services. And we're going to ask everybody to follow through out that way. And that way it just kind of helps ease up coming and going traffic and helps us to socially distance as people are leaving and coming in. And as you continue on your way out, following the arrows on out, you'll notice that there are a few extra chairs out here in the narthex setup, so that if all the seats in the sanctuary do fill up, there's a few more out here, and if these all fill out, remember again, we're going to open up the fellowship hall, and there'll be plenty of seating in the fellowship hall to watch in the overflow room. And this is where we're asking you to depart on Sunday morning through that the handicap ramp door. So as you follow the arrows on out and you go out that direction, we ask you to just kind of go down the ramp and head right back out to your cars. We don't want everybody congregating as church members are kind of apt to do, either here in the narthex or even out in the parking lot. We're asking that you don't congregate at this time. We want to take every measure possible to mitigate the risks, to make this as safe as possible for a Sunday morning experience. So please come worship with us and then head on home. And one thing I do want you to know too is we are opening the doors to the building 15 minutes before service starts. And then after service, we're asking you to head on home right afterwards. So don't come an hour early to hang out and chat if you're used to doing that sort of thing. Please don't come more than 15 minutes before your worship service. So 8:45 for the 9 o'clock and 10:15 for the 10:30, especially for the later service, because we're going to need that time. We're going to need every minute of that time to get all that sanitization done and make sure that the church is clean and surfaces are dry and all that for the next worship service. So I hope you feel comfortable coming back. If not, we understand. We know that there's a lot of people who are still in that high-risk group. And if that's you, we don't expect you to come back and be here a part of this public gathering at this time. We invite you to continue to worship with us online at the live stream, as services are happening now even. And we look forward to that day when we do get to come back as a united church and gather and worship together and even restore some of those fellowship things. I can't wait till we have coffee hour again. I'm going to miss coffee hour. But this is temporary and it will pass. And I hope that all the different measures that we've taken make you feel a little bit more comfortable coming back and worshiping with us here this Sunday on the 12th. But if not, we'll see you again one day, and we all look forward to that day. So until then, God's blessings, stay safe, and keep the faith.